I'm Finley. I saw it clearly. One small movement that could have changed my whole life. At my own wedding, my mother-in-law slipped something into my glass like it was nothing. My hands stayed steady, but my heart turned cold, so I did the only thing I could do without causing a scene. I switched our drinks and I watched her take the first sip. The music was soft and pretty, the kind people call romantic. White flowers hung from arches. The air smelled like roses and warm bread. Everyone kept telling me I looked like a dream, but I didn't feel like a dream. I felt like I was standing on a trapdoor. I'd spent months planning that day with Ethan. My dress fit like it had been made for only my body. My hair was pinned back with tiny pearls. My makeup was gentle and glowing exactly how I wanted it. And still, there was one thing I couldn't control. Daphne, my mother-in-law, had arrived with her perfect posture and perfect smile, dressed in a pale champagne gown that almost looked white in certain light. People complimented her. She took it like applause was her oxygen. She kissed Ethan's cheek like he was still her little boy. Then she looked at me. Her eyes didn't say congratulations. They said ownership. I tried to breathe through it. I told myself I was being paranoid. Daphne was dramatic and controlling. Yes, but it was my wedding day. I refused to let her take it from me. We were halfway through the reception when I finally began to relax. Ethan was laughing, cheeks pink from champagne. My dad had cried during the father-daughter dance and made me laugh through my tears. Even my best friend, Tessa, kept whispering, "This is perfect. Finn, you made it." I almost believed her. Then I noticed Daphne watching me from across the room. Not the normal watching, not the mother of the groom proud gaze. This was different. She was studying me like I was a problem she'd been waiting to solve. I told myself to ignore it. I turned toward the bar where the bartender slid a tall glass toward me, something light, sweet, and sparkling. I hadn't eaten much. My stomach fluttered with nerves and excitement. I took the drink and carried it back to my table. I set it down next to my plate and leaned in close to Ethan. "Can you believe we're actually married?" I whispered. He grinned. "I've been waiting for this since the first time you stole the last slice of pizza from my plate." I smiled. "You offered it. I did not." "Yes, you did." He laughed, and for a moment, I forgot everything else. Then someone tapped my shoulder. "Finley," Daphne said warmly, like we were close friends. I turned. "Hi, Daphne, darling," she said, and the words sounded like a ribbon tied too tight. "May I borrow Ethan for a moment? There are some family photos we need." Ethan looked tired but polite. "Sure, 2 minutes." Daphne's hand rested lightly on his arm as she guided him away. It looked gentle. It looked loving. It wasn't. The second Ethan stood, Daphne glanced down at my drink. Her smile didn't change. Her face stayed calm. Her body stayed relaxed, but her hand moved. She leaned in like she was going to adjust a napkin or pick up a stray fork. Instead, I saw a tiny packet between her fingers, small enough to hide in her palm, quick enough to be missed by anyone not looking directly at it. And I was looking. She tilted her hand. Fine powder fell into my glass like dust. My body went ice-cold. My ears rang. My stomach dropped so hard it felt like I was falling. Daphne straightened and gave me that same perfect smile. "Sweetheart," she said softly, "you look flushed. Make sure you stay hydrated. Weddings are exhausting." I couldn't speak. My throat locked up. She turned and walked away with Ethan. I sat frozen for one long second, staring at my glass like it had turned into a snake. Tessa appeared beside me, eyes bright, holding her phone. "Finn, the photo booth," is her words stopped when she saw my face. "What's wrong?" My mouth opened, but nothing came out. My mind raced so fast it almost hurt. Did I really see that? Yes, I knew what I saw. My fingers tightened around the edge of the table. My pulse thundered in my neck. I wanted to stand up, scream, throw the drink at her, call the police, do something, but the room was full. My grandparents were there, Ethan's co-workers, the photographer, the wedding planner, everyone smiling, everyone drinking, everyone happy. If I caused a scene and I was wrong, Daphne would paint me as unstable, dramatic, a liar. And if I was right, I couldn't risk swallowing even one sip. I stared at the glass again. It looked the same. That was the scariest part. "Finley," Tessa whispered, leaning closer. "Talk to me." I swallowed. My voice came out thin. "I think Daphne put something in my drink." Tessa blinked once. "What?" "I saw her," I said. "Just now. Powder." She dropped it in. Tessa's face changed instantly. The laughter drained out of her eyes. "Okay, Don't touch it. Don't drink it. I'm not, I whispered. Then my stomach twisted. But what do I do? Ethan's with her. Tessa's gaze flicked across the room to where Daphne stood talking to a cluster of relatives. Ethan beside her like a polite accessory. Tessa leaned in so close, her hair brushed my cheek. We handle it smart. My hands shook. I'm scared. I know, she said, but you're not alone. The music swelled. Someone shouted for another toast. Glasses clinked. My wedding continued around me like nothing had happened, and I felt like I was trapped inside a pretty nightmare. Tessa pulled her phone out, opened the camera, and held it low by her waist like she was texting. What are you doing? I whispered. Recording, she murmured, just in case she tries anything else. My mind felt foggy and sharp at the same time. But we don't have proof. Tessa's eyes narrowed. We can get it. She glanced at my drink again. Don't move it. Don't let anyone touch it. I'll go grab one of the staff and ask for a fresh drink for you. Quietly. Then we'll swap your glasses, so Daphne doesn't realize you know. My heart slammed. Swap. Like switch them. Tessa nodded, slow and careful. She expects you to drink it. If you don't, she might try again, or she might panic. But if she thinks you still have it, I looked at Daphne across the room. She was smiling, laughing, like she wasn't a monster. My lips trembled. You want me to give it to her? Tessa's voice stayed calm. Only if we can do it without risk, and only if we control it. I breathed in. My chest ached. A part of me didn't want revenge. A part of me wanted to run, but another part, an older part, was tired of being polite, tired of letting people like Daphne take and take and take because they hid their cruelty behind manners. I nodded. Once, okay? I whispered. Tell me what to do. Tessa stood and walked toward the bar, blending into the crowd like she belonged there. I stayed seated, hands folded, forcing my face into something close to calm. My mind flashed backward, too fast, too clear. The first time I met Daphne was at Ethan's apartment. We were dating, still new. I brought brownies. I was nervous, but excited. Daphne walked in, scanned me from head to toe, and said, "Oh, just oh." Then she kissed Ethan and said, "You didn't tell me she was so what?" Ethan asked, confused. Daphne smiled sweetly, so eager. I'd laughed, trying to make it light. "I'm just happy to meet you." She'd leaned closer to me and whispered, "Happiness is delicate, it breaks easily." I should have taken it as a warning, but I thought she was just intense. Over time, her intensity became a pattern. She'd forget to include me in family group chats. She'd schedule family dinners on nights Ethan and I already had plans, then act offended when we didn't show. She'd gift Ethan expensive things, watches, trips, tickets, then remind him loudly, "No one loves you like your mother." Once, when Ethan was in the shower, Daphne had called me. "You're sweet, Finley," she said, "but you're temporary." My hand had gripped the phone. "Excuse me." "You'll understand," she said, voice calm, almost kind. "Women like you don't last. Ethan needs someone stronger." I'd told Ethan afterward. He'd been angry for a day, then tired. "She's just like that," he said. "She doesn't mean it." I'd wanted him to mean it when he said he chose me. And he did most of the time, but Daphne lived in the cracks where most of the time didn't protect you. Now, on my wedding day, she'd finally stepped out of the cracks and into the light. Tessa returned with a female servant, nervous-looking, hair in a tight bun. Tessa leaned close to her and whispered something I couldn't hear. The server glanced at me and then at my glass. Her eyes widened. She nodded quickly. "Ma'am," she whispered to me, "can I get you a fresh drink?" "Yes," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Please." The server lifted my glass, careful not to spill, and carried it away like it was normal, like she was just clearing a table. I watched it go, my stomach twisting. Tessa leaned in. "I told her it might be contaminated. She's taking it to the kitchen. They can seal it." My breath caught. "Seal it." "Evidence," Tessa whispered. "If we need it." I nodded, swallowing hard. "Okay." Then, another server arrived with a new drink, same glass, same color, same tiny bubbles floating to the top. It looked identical. I stared at it like it was a trick. Tessa squeezed my hand under the table. "This one is safe." I held it but didn't drink. My mouth was dry, but fear had turned my throat to stone. Across the room, Daphne's gaze flicked toward me. I saw it happen, quick, sharp, like she was checking if I'd done what she wanted. My hands stayed calm. I raised the new glass slightly like I might sip soon. Daphne's smile softened. Satisfied. My skin crawled. Tessa whispered, "She's watching." We play normal. I forced a laugh at something someone said nearby. I nodded when a cousin asked if I was having fun. I smiled until my cheeks hurt. Inside, I was screaming. A few minutes later, Ethan returned, sliding into his seat beside me. Mom wanted those stupid photos. I stiffened at the word mom. I searched his face for anything different, but he looked happy, a little tipsy, a little tired, completely unaware. Are you okay? He asked. You look pale. My heart cracked in two directions. I wanted to tell him. I wanted to throw the truth into his lap and watch him handle it. But the room was full. Daphne was close, and I needed to be smart. I'm fine, I said softly, just overwhelmed. He squeezed my hand. We can sneak out early if you want. I almost laughed. Not yet. Daphne approached again, gliding toward our table like a queen, returning to her throne. There you are, she said to Ethan. I need you for another toast soon. Ethan groaned. Mom. Daphne's eyes shifted to me. Finley, darling, drink some water. You've barely touched your drink. My grip tightened around the glass. I met her gaze and smiled. Don't worry, I said. I'll have it. Daphne's expression stayed pleasant, but her eyes sharpened like blades. Good, she said, almost too softly. Then she turned and walked away. Tessa's nails pressed into my wrist under the table. She's pushing, I whispered. She wants me to drink it now. Ethan frowned. What are you talking about? I looked at him, my pulse throbbed. This was the moment. I could tell him the truth right here, right now. But I saw Daphne glance back again. Checking. I made a choice. Later, I said quietly to Ethan, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. I'll tell you later. Ethan looked confused, but he nodded. The next hour passed like a slow, painful crawl. People danced, people laughed. They told me I was glowing. All I could feel was Daphne's presence, like a shadow that kept moving closer. I didn't drink anything Daphne could reach. I didn't leave my glass alone. I didn't go to the bathroom without Tessa. When I finally did step away to freshen up, I stood in the mirror and stared at myself. My lipstick was perfect. My eyes were not. They looked older, harder. Tessa leaned against the counter beside me. You okay? I shook my head slowly. No. Tessa nodded. Me neither. I pressed my palms to the sink. Why would she do this? Why now? Tessa's eyes were dark. Because it's the one day you become permanent. My stomach turned. Tessa exhaled. You're the wife now, not the girlfriend, not the phase. She can't bully you out slowly anymore, so she's doing it fast. I stared at my reflection, and if I'd drunk it, Tessa didn't answer. She didn't have to. We heard laughter outside the bathroom door. A woman's voice, Daphne's, floated in, bright and light. I felt rage rise so hot it made my hand shake. I'm not going to let her win, I whispered. Tessa's gaze met mine. Then we make sure she loses in a way she can't twist. When we returned to the reception, the energy had shifted. The dancing was wilder. People were looser. Phones came out. The DJ shouted for the newlyweds to join the floor. Ethan grabbed my hand. Come on, one song. I stepped onto the dance floor with him, smiling because everyone was watching. But my eyes kept tracking Daphne. She was near the bar now, chatting with two of Ethan's aunts, holding a drink in her hand. It looked like mine. My stomach clenched. Tessa's voice came low near my ear. That's the original glass. What? I whispered, not moving my lips much. They didn't throw it away, Tessa said. They sealed it. But Daphne demanded another drink. Same type hand. I watched the bartender pour it. She's holding the one she thinks you didn't drink. My pulse slammed. So Daphne didn't just want me drugged. She wanted to watch me do it. Ethan spun me gently. You okay? He asked. I forced a laugh. Yes. The song ended. Applause filled the air. Daphne approached immediately, her smile sharp. Beautiful, she said. Now, sweetheart, you must toast with me. It's tradition. My mouth went dry. Ethan blinked. Toast with you. Daphne waved a hand. Just a small family moment. Mother and daughter, and it will look lovely in photos. Her eyes landed on my glass. My safe glass. My stomach churned. She wanted control again. I realized something then, cold and clear. Daphne wasn't trying to hurt me quietly. She was trying to prove she could. I looked at Ethan. He was smiling, clueless. I looked at Daphne. Her eyes were waiting, and I thought, fine, if she wanted a toast, she would get one, but not the one she planned. I lifted my glass. Sure. Daphne's smile widened like she'd already won. She raised her drink. The photographer drifted closer. A few relatives turned to watch. Ethan stood beside me, arm around my waist. Daphne held her glass higher. To family, she said. I met her eyes. To family, I echoed. And in that second, I did it. With one smooth motion, I stepped forward like I was clinking glasses. But instead, I switched them. It was quick, elegant, almost invisible, like a magician's trick. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst through my ribs. Daphne didn't notice. She smiled, satisfied, and brought the glass to her lips. I watched her drink. Just one swallow, then two. Then she paused. Her smile twitched for the first time all night. Something cracked. She blinked fast, as if the room had shifted under her feet. Daphne, Ethan asked, you okay? She swallowed again, but it looked wrong, like her throat forgot how. Her fingers tightened around the glass. Her eyes met mine. And in them, I saw pure shocked fear. She opened her mouth like she wanted to speak, but her words came out slurred and thin. What did you? I stepped closer, smiling sweetly, matching her old tone. Oh, Daphne, I said softly, weddings are exhausting. You should stay hydrated. Her face went pale. The glass trembled in her hand. The photographer lowered his camera. Confused, Ethan frowned. Mom. Daphne's knees buckled. She grabbed the edge of a chair, trying to stay upright, but her body betrayed her. Her breath hitched. Her eyes rolled slightly. People started noticing. Is she drunk? Someone whispered. She only had one glass. Another voice said. Daphne's lips parted again. Call she didn't finish. She collapsed sideways, the glass slipping from her fingers and shattering on the floor. A scream ripped through the room. The music cut off. Ethan rushed forward, dropping to his knees beside her. Mom, Mom, my stomach flipped, not with guilt, but with a sharp, clear realization. Whatever she put in that drink, it was meant to take someone down fast, and she'd planned for that someone to be me. Tessa appeared at my side, her face controlled, but her eyes fierce. Now, she whispered, now we tell him. Ethan looked up at me, panic in his eyes. Finley, call 911. I nodded and pulled my phone out with shaking hands, shaking, but not from fear anymore. From adrenaline, from rage, from relief that I was still standing. Paramedics arrived within minutes. People crowded back, whispering. Ethan's aunts cried. Daphne lay on the floor, barely conscious, eyes glassy, skin clammy. The paramedic asked, any idea what she took? Ethan stammered. I don't know, she was fine. I stepped forward, voice steady. She drank from my glass. Ethan's head snapped toward me. What? Tessa moved beside me. Finley saw Daphne slip something into her drink earlier. The room went silent in a way that felt unreal. Ethan stared at me like he didn't understand the language. Finley, what are you saying? I swallowed. I saw her put something in my glass, powder. I didn't drink it. His face drained of color. No, he whispered. No, my mom wouldn't. I looked at him, my voice breaking despite my effort. Ethan, she did. He shook his head hard. Why would she do that? My throat tightened. Tears burned behind my eyes. Because she hates me. Because she wanted me gone. Tessa reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. I recorded her hovering near the glass. She said, it's not perfect, but it's something. And the staff sealed the original drink in the kitchen. Ethan blinked rapidly, like his brain was trying to reject reality. One of the paramedics looked sharply at Daphne, then at Ethan. We're taking her in now. Daphne was lifted onto a stretcher, groaning faintly. Her eyes fluttered open again, unfocused, but when her gaze found mine, it sharpened for one horrible moment. She knew, and I knew she knew. Ethan stood, shaking, torn between following the stretcher and staring at me. Come with me, he whispered. Please. I nodded, but my chest felt like it was splitting open. At the hospital, the bright lights made everything feel harsher. Ethan paced the waiting room like a caged animal. Tessa sat beside me, her hand on mine. After an hour, a doctor came out. She's stable, the doctor said, but she ingested a sedative mixed with alcohol. It's dangerous. If her dose had been higher. He stopped himself, but I heard the rest anyway. Ethan's face crumpled. He turned to me, voice cracking. That was meant for you, he whispered. I nodded slowly. Tears spilled now, quiet and unstoppable. He covered his mouth with his hand like he was going to be sick. I didn't believe you, he whispered. All the times you told me she was like this, I thought she was just difficult. I stared at him through tears. I needed you to protect me. You kept asking me to be patient. He sank into a chair, elbows on knees, shaking. I'm sorry. The words hung between us. Sorry didn't erase what happened. Sorry didn't fix the fact that his mother tried to drug me at my wedding. Sorry, didn't change the way I had smiled all night while my body sat inches from danger. A nurse walked over. Family of Daphne Hale. Ethan stood quickly. Yes, she's asking to see you, the nurse said. Ethan looked at me like he didn't know what to do. I stood too. I'm going, I said. His eyes widened. Finley, I need to hear her say it, I said. I need to see her face when she realizes she can't twist this. Tessa rose with us. I'm coming. In the hospital room, Daphne lay pale against white sheets. Her hair was messy. Her lipstick was smeared. Her perfect image was gone. Her lipstick was smeared. Her perfect image was gone. And yet, when she saw Ethan, she tried to pull her face into that familiar smile. My baby, she croaked. Are you okay? Ethan didn't answer. His jaw clenched. His eyes filled with tears he seemed ashamed of. Daphne's gaze shifted to me. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Even now, even after everything, Finley, she whispered. What happened? I stepped closer to the bed, voice calm. You tell me, I said. What did you put in my drink? Her lips trembled. I don't know what you're talking about. Ethan's voice cracked like a breaking window. Stop. Just stop. Daphne blinked at him. Ethan, I know, he said, tears spilling now. I know. Finley saw you. The staff saved the drink. Tessa recorded you hovering. The doctor said you had a sedative in your system. You drank it because Finley switched the glasses. Daphne's eyes flashed with fury so fast it almost looked like pain. You switched the glasses, she whispered, voice venomous. I leaned closer. I did. Her face twisted. You, Ethan slammed his hand against the wall. Mom, what did you do? Daphne stared at him, breathing hard. Then she whispered, soft and cruel, I was protecting you. The room froze. Ethan's voice dropped to a dangerous quiet. From what? From her, Daphne hissed, eyes darting at me. She's not right for you. She'll take you away from me. I felt my stomach turn. So you tried to drug me. Daphne lifted her chin weakly. I tried to slow you down, make you sick, ruin the night, make you look unstable. My body went cold again, but this time it was rage, not fear. Ethan stared at her like she was a stranger. You wanted to make my wife look unstable. On our wedding day, Daphne's eyes shone, but not with guilt, with anger, with possessiveness. She doesn't deserve you, she whispered. I do. Ethan's face broke in a way I'll never forget. Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet, shattering. He stepped back from the bed, voice trembling. You need help. Daphne's eyes widened. Ethan, don't do this. He turned to the nurse, standing outside the door. I want to file a report. Daphne's head snapped up. Ethan. He looked at her one last time, tears on his cheeks. You tried to hurt her. You tried to hurt my future. You tried to control me like I was still a child. I'm done. Then he walked out of the room. Daphne's eyes locked on mine. Her voice dropped low and bitter. You think you won, she whispered. I wiped my tears and leaned in close enough that only she could hear. I didn't win, I whispered back. I survived. And you showed everyone who you really are. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I stepped back and turned away. In the hallway, Ethan stood with his hands on his head, breathing hard like he was fighting off a panic attack. I walked to him slowly. He looked up at me, eyes red. I'm sorry, he said again. I should have listened. I should have protected you. I nodded. Yes. He flinched like the word hit him. I took a shaky breath. But I'm not here to punish you. I'm here to make sure this never happens again. Ethan swallowed. I'll do anything. I stared at him for a long moment. Then you choose, I said softly. Not with words, with actions. He nodded, tears falling. I choose you. Then we do this the right way, I said. We file the report. We get the test results. We keep the evidence. And we tell the family the truth before she twists it. Tessa stepped closer. And Finley doesn't go near her again. Ever? Ethan nodded. Ever. In the weeks that followed, the story tried to take different shapes depending on who told it. Some relatives wanted to say Daphne was just stressed. Others wanted to blame the alcohol. A few even tried to say I was dramatic, but evidence doesn't care about excuses. The sealed drink tested positive for a sedative. The staff wrote statements. Tessa's recording helped confirm timing and behavior. The hospital records confirmed what Daphne had in her system. Daphne tried to apologize once. She sent a message. I'm sorry you misunderstood. Me. Misunderstood. Even her apology was a weapon. Ethan didn't reply. We cut contact. It wasn't easy. Ethan grieved. Not for the mother he had, but for the mother he wished he had. There were days he looked hollow. There were nights he woke up sweating, whispering, "I didn't know." And there were moments I almost softened too much until I remembered my glass. The powder, the way her smile never changed. I started therapy. Ethan did too. Not because we were broken beyond repair, but because we refused to pretend this didn't leave scars. People asked me if I regretted switching the glasses. I thought about that a lot, because part of me hated that I'd done it, not because Daphne didn't deserve consequences, but because it meant I'd stepped into a darkness I never wanted to carry. Still, I knew the truth. If I hadn't switched them, I might not have woken up on my wedding night, or I might have woken up labeled as unstable, dramatic, too emotional, and she would have smiled while my life burned. So no, I didn't regret saving myself. I regretted that she forced me to. Months later, Ethan and I stood in our kitchen on an ordinary Tuesday. No wedding dress, no flowers, no music, just quiet. He wrapped his arms around me and said, "I'm proud of you." I leaned back against him, eyes closing. I didn't feel brave, I admitted. "You were," he said. "You were brave when you stayed calm. You were brave when you spoke up. You were brave when you didn't let her rewrite reality." I swallowed hard. I just didn't want to disappear. His arms tightened. "You won't. And that's what I want you to remember, too. Sometimes revenge isn't screaming. It isn't violence. It isn't a perfect speech in front of everyone. Sometimes revenge is simply refusing to be erased. Refusing to drink what they poured for you. Refusing to smile while they poison your life. And choosing yourself, even when it shakes you. If this story hit you, if it made you think about the quiet ways people try to control others, take a second to reflect. Have you ever ignored a red flag because it came wrapped in a polite smile? And if you enjoyed this kind of story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps these stories reach more people who need the reminder. You're not crazy for trusting your instincts. You're not wrong for protecting yourself. And you're not alone.